Okay, it's Fred. Go. Introduce yourself.
G'day guys and welcome. My name's Mark Lamb. I'm here to talk about some deer sign today. So some of the deer sign that we will find will normally be scats. They're pretty residual to weather, they don't blow away, they're hard to wash away. So when we look at deer as a species and looking at their sign, their bodies are triangular, their feet are triangular, and so is their scat. So we can see here I've got fallow deer on you guys for your left hand side. In the centre we've got Rous, and on your right hand side we've got Sambar. So they're all triangular, but the fallow are definitely more triangular, the Sambar are less. But they're all triangular in shape. I'll hand these around so you can have a good look at them. So both of these are triangular. We can see in this one it's probably more of a heart shape. So we can actually indicate the species on that. That's fallow. They look like you can put two thumbprints right at the back. This print here is Sambar. You can't quite do that with that print. But the one thing I'd like you guys to take home is triangular scats, triangular shaped chest, triangular scats. Some of the other triangular sign that we can find for deer are antlers. So if we actually look at the shape of that, it's triangular. Comes up to a point there and down, so it's flat. This one here is a red deer. We know it's a red deer, it's got 4 points or more, makes it a red. Some of the 3-point species, it's important to know our species because they rut different times of year. Our monitoring may be better at some points of the year than others, but also so we can determine what control techniques are going to work best and what time of year to deploy those, as well as our monitoring. Some other species have 3, some have palmated antlers. But if you find antler like this, there's only one species that'll leave it, and that's deer. So we are next door. We have some workshops going if anybody would like to sign in. There's one for specialised shooting, and there's also one on detecting all this deer monitoring and control techniques that we can use for them. And we'd welcome you all to sign on and come to the days. So we got any questions, guys?
Just about to start talking about the problem of the deers
We've got all of those 3 deers here in our area?
Yeah, so we've got 6 species in Australia, in New South Wales. Well, there's really 7, but we put elk and red deer together as one species because their biology and ecology and mating and everything is so similar, and they do interbreed. So there's those guys. We have Rous. Rous have straighter antlers on the inside, so they're straighter antler. They have a grey throat patch. They're quite a large deer. And we also have fallow. Fallow have spots. They can be chocolate, they can be meanal, which is a sandy form, and they can be white, palmated antlers. So those 3 species we know are in the area. There's also some that we don't know. So Sambar, for instance, they're over 300 kilos, they're as big as a horse. They have 3 tines on their antlers, and they're probably only about 300 k's from here that we know of. There's also Chittle. So Chittle are another spotted deer. They have a white throat patch, 3-tined antlers, and their spots are a lot finer compared to fallow, and they have a black arrow on their tail. They're all bad. Kill them all. Pew pew.
Why are they bad?
Well, they're bad for the environment. So they'll ring bark a lot of native trees. So if you've got these guys around and you've got some pretty unique timbers in Australia like red cedar, they're going to be the trees that they will rut out and rub out. Once they take out the sapwood, they become vulnerable to the wind and they snap. So we're losing a lot of native species. So if we look at reds or Sambar, they wallow a lot. Reds don't wallow as much as Sambar, but Sambar will absolutely ruin spring systems, gullies, much the same as what water buffalo do. They all braze, so they're going to be able to outcompete our livestock and our native wildlife. They're extremely hard on fencing and agriculture, and they cause a lot of impact. So if we're looking at Sambar that are 300 kilos and we hit them in a motor vehicle, that's also a big social impact.
How similar are goat hoofs to...
Very indifferent. So if we look at a goat hoof would be square, so it's longer than what it is wider, so it's actually oblong in shape.
Right.
Yep, so they're longer than what they are wider. There's a small V at the front, And the cut starts on them, the deepest part comes from the top third right around and inside bottom third. Yep, so much different. A pig is much wider and squarer. They're actually wider than they are longer. They have a big V and they walk down in on their tips of their toes.
And if we compared the three, like pig, feral pig, feral goat, feral deer, what's causing the most damage in the world?
I guess that depends whereabouts you are in New South Wales or Australia.
Yeah.
So as a state, no doubt it's agriculturally it would be pigs. Goats are no doubt a key world threatening species to most of our wildlife and plants. If we look at deer are scary because they're not that abundant in this region, but they are in others. And I think the fear factor in deer are they're both agriculturally and environmentally a bad pest, and they're taking over more hectares per year than what rabbits do or have done.
Yeah, okay.
Hello?
Interesting.
Yeah.
And is shooting them the optimal eradication?
It's the only tool we've really got. There's no legal bait that we can use on deer. They're really hard to bait. They're hard to condition onto feed and they're hard to train. So if we talk about 5 of the species, aerial shooting's our most practical tool that we can use for knocking down larger populations. If we look at sambar, ground shooting's about as effective. But there's also ways we can integrate our control. So it may be only shooting's our tool, but we can use white light, we can hunt them during the daytime, we can use thermal, and we can also use detection dogs to point them and shoot them. So we just change our methodology and integrate the systems we use.
Sports hunting for deer in North New South Wales?
So yeah, not for control. Like for recreational harvest, yes, but yeah, most hunters will take out 2 or 3 deer and not work on a population.
Yeah.
So you might be able to trap to fit collars or get a couple for DNA or something like that, but as an overall control tool, you're probably better off. Recreational hunters are going to get you a lot more numbers than what deer trapping will, and it's relatively expensive. Sometimes it might be the only tool you've got though if you have one in the middle of a casino and you can't shoot it. Yeah. Absolutely, and they're difficult to train. So pigs we can put out free feed, get them on feed, we can free feed and then they go and train the rest of the mob. With deer they'll come and they'll peck at a bit of grain or loosen or whatever. They might go away for a month or 3 days or 10 days or they're both unpredictable and erratic and they don't train their mob.
I've got a very left of field.
Now we've got a gentleman
Awesome.
here missing his brown
You
wallet.
heard the rumours
We think
surely
it's probably
about
near the northern food stall. If someone
feral
could,
big
pick
cats
it up,
in
you've got to
Australia.
bring it back to the main office.
Surely
Or
everyone
maybe
has,
in the
you know,
little cutting
that
house.
urban
So
myth,
if you
urban legend.
have picked up
Have
a
you seen
brown
any
wallet,
evidence
do
of
the
them
right thing, be
attacking
good.
deer?
Bring it either back here to the main office.
In other
or
countries,
bring it
yes.
at
Not
the
here.
broadcasting box.
No.
I'll be more than happy to call
Not
it back
here.
to you.
Because I was thinking about what's a predator, and it'd be like cougars and those sort of
So-
big.
Awesome. So deer are a pretty wary species
Yeah.
as an ungulate. Most deer have grown up with big cats.
Yeah.
So we're talking about cheetahs, we're talking about tigers, we're talking about mountain lions, really big cats. So they're all very twitchy. That's another reason they're hard to train, they don't settle down. So if they can't control them in their own country, they're not going to control them here. I really don't think there's any predator-prey relationship in reducing numbers. And I just hope as a species we're not silly enough to let go big cats to try to do that.
You might take out a few other overpopulated
Other pests?
species.
Fair enough.
Or us.
Us.
Drop bears will fix them.
Absolutely. That's what we should be releasing. More drop bears.
And so your talks over there are about how to eradicate, is that?
Yeah, so how to eradicate, how to control, how to monitor. So we're doing those workshops and we're also doing some specialised workshops on shooting. So becoming better marksmanship and actually knowing when the deer are out, how they move, how we should be targeting them for more effective control. So taking out more, not less.
And would you target like alpha off the males, or is there a key there?
No, so I think these guys are normally what are harvested, and it's for a trophy.
Yep.
So these guys, yeah, okay, so the females won't breed without a male, but if we take out 100 males and we leave one, we've done nothing for the population control.
Yeah. Okay.
So as nasty as it sounds, we should be really targeting the young and the females. Get them off the boats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries.